Be not convinced. No. He who is convinced is a fool. Being convinced just means you believe something about reality, and rather than admit that you don't know, you comfort yourself with being convinced of an idea that was sold to you or that you bought in some way. Some better way of looking at it than something you had in the past doesn't make it reality. He who is convinced is a fool. He is aiming at a mental configuration of thought to give him an accurate portrayal of what is reality, of what is true, rather than going only on what he knows and letting all the rest be a mystery. I don't want to be convinced of anything. You either know or you don't, and if you don't, you rely on a configuration, a concept of what is in your mind, and then being convinced of it, and constantly trying to improve that concept, whichever remains merely a concept, a story, a belief. In a way, we ought consider everything we think to be real or true about reality that we do not actually know absolute buffoonery, complete make-believe, a dream of reality painted by our own delusions because we so desperately think we need a structure of belief about what is in order to maintain our sanity, when a far better approach is, I really don't know until I know. This goes right down to the fundamentals of what life is. Do you know? What is a planet? What is a human being? What is really going on around me, within me? And is there a difference? Is there a relation? What do I know? I believe a lot of things, and they form a perception of what is reality. How much of a conscious role do I actually have in this whole process? How do I just have clarity? Who am I even asking? Who is providing the answers? Isn't that interesting to ponder? You ask a question that you do not know, that you do not now have the answer to, and without any research, without any external influences, your mind produces the answer. How did it get there? That is a design for which there must be a designer, who must be the one who holds the answer. That of itself proves that there is at least two consciousnesses, or two consciousness levels or aspects, because one has to be asking the questions and the other has to be providing the answer. I'm not ever consciously providing the answer, so who is? This is so profound that something is providing the answer, literally. Who is delivering the answers, the insights, the inspirations, the answers to my prayers, so to speak? How can I be the one who is providing the answers? And if I was the one providing the answers, then why would there ever be a need to ask a question? Either it is another aspect of myself, or lens of myself, or perspective of myself, or some other intelligence is providing the answer. Intelligence. It must be quite intelligent if it can answer any and every question that anyone can ever ask. Yet we are asking the question, and we never wonder who is providing the answer. Something that is self-aware and responding to our call for anything we cannot provide ourselves. And yet, it is always with us. It has to be, or who is the one answering? And how do they always know where we are? How do they hear absolutely every prayer of every single being, as far as I can assume, if they function anything like I do, and not be everywhere at once? And if it is that intelligent and all-pervasive, how could you ever question what it gave you? It is literally the part of your own mind that provides the answers to anything or has any reason to create. And that's just one question to which you could say there is no belief that is sufficient. Either you know your own soul or greater body of intelligence which answers all of your prayers, or you don't. I would not wish to turn what I am into another belief. I think we ought to stand in complete awe in the realization that we don't even know what we are, where we come from, and how is it that there is an intelligence that is always at our beck and call and hears every thought and arranges every incident, even the incident of our own earthly identity. It's a happening, being human. A human is not just created in one moment, and then the rest of his existence is just, let's see how it turns out. Every moment of its unfolding is part of the creation process of superintelligence, I would assume. It's like when you sneeze, you don't try to control your sneezes, but it comes out all at once as far as you're concerned. And yet, if you slow time down, you can make that sneeze seem like every droplet of it was an event within the lifetime of a human being, and you watched every drop spray out of their face when they sneeze. You watched it so slowly that it took you an entire lifetime to see it unfold. Imagine an intelligence that experiences a human life as no more of an event than a sneeze. And if you look at it this way, it kind of becomes silly to ask that it be anything other than how it would be most natural for your own beingness to sneeze. It's like it could be all arranged instantaneously, and then the consciousness travels through it at whatever rate of time and degree of involvement it wants. However, somehow, the intelligence is still so great that throughout the sneeze, every thought, every prayer, every need for insight and evolution was intimately intertwined in every intricate detail so that the viewer could always be whole. What is my subconscious even trying to tell me about art? Believe in myself? It is certainly my aim to be so fluid in the way of being in which I hold myself that my awareness is like water in a similar way that it is in a dream. The rigidity of your reality to some degree must have to do with the rigidity of your mind. So reality can be made more like dreams when your mind is as fluid as they are in your dreams. What does this mean? It's kind of like what RJ was saying. Reside solely in the I am. See how everything that you believe yourself to be is a construction, and you have a chosen perception about each construction. And through this forms construction a sense of identity. See how much of it is actually an illusion, no different than a portrait or any work of art. Just bibs and bobs, colors and shapes, all thrown together in different arrangements. And you name this one James. This is not to call what I am merely this construction, or to say that what I am doesn't exist. It is to say that the mind has created a picture of self out of the constructions of matter in this reality, in their ever-changing dimensions. He yet still holds an image in his mind which he claims to be himself. And if it should change in any which direction, does that change, in fact, who you are? And what say did you have in how it evolved? You did not know what you would look like 10 years in the future. You did not know what you would look like as an adult when you were a child. You thought, oh, I hope I don't look like this person or that person. But if you did, would you let that define who you are? Would you not still be the same child grown up? With this awareness, how can you claim what you look like to be who you are? Does it not still remain a question? It does sound like I'm trying to be philosophical, but I'm literally just stating facts as reality presents itself to me moment by moment. Facts of my current perception. So how does one adjust their mind such that it becomes more closely related to the relaxation you have when you are dreaming, but throughout the day? What would that create? We only need to decide what we choose to create. So I am choosing to create a mind that is fluid and relaxed all the time, such that the reality can be as fluid as it is in dreams, or moving in that direction. What this means is more and more can happen more of the time with less and less insistence and resistance from the mind, with such a free flow that the will is purely instinctual and comes from the greater intelligence within, which is always present. Training the mind to be so allowing that it allows itself to be completely deconstructed if need be, in a similar way as dying or when you are in a dream and there's nothing about it that you feel the desire to control. Imagine a reality that is that fluid. In that kind of a reality, you have no possessions. Things manifest instantaneously as they are needed in your natural creativity, your genius, your intelligence all rises to greater and greater heights, making what you manifest so obvious, so much your first choice without a thought. but you really see the ludicrousness of the idea of needing to possess anything, because reality in that way of being fluid, it responds to your present need, your awareness, and your will. Live as though you own nothing and never wish to, because you know it is a silly idea. And besides, everything could be gone in an instant, literally. If everything is already gone in that way, as far as your mind is concerned, or your desire to get attached to things, in other words, how they are or what they are, that just might be the ego, or how the ego kept itself oblivious to higher intelligence. It started placing its value in the shape and configuration of reality over the nature and being of the one who is molding it, the spirit within. Which one would you say is more precious? We cannot go without physical survival, but given a choice, would you choose your physical survival or your spiritual survival? It's almost a no-brainer, because it's like asking, would you rather keep your kidney or save a loved one's life with your kidney? It's like if you choose your physical attachments over doing what feels right in your soul, you got it backwards. So it is imperative, no matter your physical attachments, you must be completely detached, because that leaves only one priority in your mind. If the arrangement of physical matter doesn't matter, then the only thing that is left is the one who is arranging it. This is not devaluing the arrangement of matter, or even saying that it is separate from the arranger, only that you are prioritizing what you intentionally feed value into being aware of. All day, every day, we seem to be completely focused on the arrangement of matter and completely ignoring the fact that if that were not all being arranged, it would leave only the one who arranged it. And yet we completely neglect that aspect of the process and completely obsess on how the clay is currently molded. And you yourself, are you not also a molding? I mean, as you currently know yourself to be in this current form, is that not the molding of a thought and concept in your own mind? And if you are not this molding, this temporary state of matter, then how free does that make you? Because you can mold anything you want. And doesn't it matter so much more to know who is molding it? Because that's real freedom. The molder is not bound to any of its moldings, meaning it created them, therefore it must have existed before them, or in a position that is actually a reality where everything else is a conception built from a mystery. You might say we are molding ourselves, but if I were to say that, that would be a presumption based on the belief that we are. So I ask again, what do I know? I will not be convinced of anything. I will not allow belief to be my identity. Who am I?